All right. Hello, everyone. It's good to come your way once again with some basic issues and topics in quantitative methods. Please, before you continue to watch the video, I would urge that you kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. So please kindly click the red subscribe button at the down right corner so that we could bring to your way more content. Okay, so kindly subscribe to this channel to help the work we are doing, and then we can bring to you more content. So in this episode or in this meeting, I'm going to take you through the second aspect, or what I call Bayes Theorem Part 2. And in this part, I would walk you through some of the questions on Bayes Theorem and how it should be approached. So here, let's look at the first question. It says that there is a total of 100 companies listed on Agege Stock Exchange. Star Rating Company have rated these companies based on the company's balance sheet health over the past 3 years. So essentially, this question is explaining the fact that there is a rating agency or there is a rating company that have rated the performance of companies based on the health of the balance sheet or how healthy their balance sheet is over the past 3 years. And then the question says that the results of the ratings are presented in the table below. So in essence, when the company did the rating, out of the 100 companies listed on the stock exchange, 10 of them are 5-star companies. Per the table here, 25 of them are 4-star companies, 35 of them are 3-star companies, and 30 of them are 2-star companies. Then the question says that assuming that you are a quantitative analyst in Star Rating Company and you have done some extensive research on publicly traded companies, for the past 3 years, most of the companies have made some restructuring in their corporate board by enforcing the CEO non-duality rule, following the issuance of corporate governance code for listed companies. The firms which implemented it have seen massive improvement in their share price. Specifically, 6 5-star firms, 15 4-star firms, 15 3-star firms, and 15 2-star firms have implemented the CEO non-duality rule. Now, essentially, this question is explaining that over the past 3 years, some firms have implemented what we call the CEO non-duality rule, which is essentially a concept in corporate governance that explains that the CEO of a company should not be the same as the board chair of the company. Now here, we see that the firms that have implemented it have increased their share price. So in essence, in this question, any firm that has implemented the CEO non-duality rule is synonymous to a firm that has increased the share price. So it's just a play of words. Anytime you hear, per the requirement of this question, anytime you hear implementing CEO, is synonymous to saying increasing share price, okay? So here, the question says that Mr. Boateng wishes to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. What is the probability that the firm is a 3-star firm? So essentially, Mr. Boateng wishes to invest in a firm that has actually implemented the rule. What is the probability that the firm is a 3-star firm? Now, in scenarios like this, first of all, we have to draw the probability tree, which will help us analyze the question very well, okay? So here, the question says that there are 10 5-star firms, 25 4-star firms, 35 3-star firms, and 30 2-star firms, okay? So here, let's say probability of A be equal to probability. So let probability of A be equal to probability of selecting a 5-star firm, okay? And we also let probability of B be probability of selecting a 4-star firm. Then let probability of C be equal to probability of selecting a 3-star firm. And let probability of D be equal to probability of selecting a 2-star firm, okay? Now, if you remember how we were calculate basic probability, probability is simply, so probability of an event is simply the number of favorable outcomes over number of successful outcomes, okay? So in essence, probability of selecting A will be equal to the total of A is 10 and the total number of, this is number of favorable outcomes over number of possible outcomes. Okay, let's make that correction. Number of favorable outcomes over number of possible outcomes. Okay, so if I want to select a 5-star firm, there are 10 favorable ways I can select it because there are 10 of them, right? And it is possible that I can select any firm. So all the total number of firms listed is 100. So this makes 10 over 100, that is 0.10. So in essence, the probability of also selecting a 4-star firm will be the total of 4-star firm, that is 25, over the total number of firms, that is 100. So we have 0.25. The probability of selecting a 3-star firm obviously will be 35 over 100, which is 0.35. And finally, probability of selecting a 2-star firm will be 30 over 100, which is 0.30, which is 0.30, which is 0.30, okay? Which is 0.30. All right. Now, so let's get these things down and let's move on. Now here, the question says that, so let's go back to the question. The question says that specifically 6 5-star companies, 15 4-star companies, 15 3-star companies, and 15 2-star companies have implemented the CEO non-duality rule, okay? Now, we clearly see that a company, first of all, there must be a company and that company must implement the rule. So here, we clearly see that the probability of selecting the company is the prior probability or the first probability. Because if there is no company, there will be no implementation, okay? So the first or the prior probability is the probability of selecting the company, and the second or the posterior probability is the probability of implementing the rule. So here, the question says that specifically 6 5-star firms have implemented it, 15 4-star, 15 3-star, and 15 2-star companies have implemented the rule. So here, let's say probability, let's let probability of S be equal to probability of implementing the CEO non-duality rule, which is synonymous to saying probability of increasing share price, okay? Increasing share price. And I already talked about this. Okay, so here, probability that they increase share price or they employ the CEO non-duality, which is essentially the same, based on the fact that it is a 5-star firm, will be equal to, so the question says that 6 5-star firms have implemented the rule. Okay. Now, 6 5-star firms have implemented the rule, or 6 5-star firms have increased the share price, have increased the share price. So here, what we see then is that they have increased their share price. 6 5-star firms have increased the share price based on the fact that they are 5-star firms, okay? And the question says there are 6 of them, 6 of them. So 6 have increased the share price based on the fact that they are 5-star firms. So the total number of 5-star firms is 10. So here, let's not confuse ourselves by writing 6 over 100, because essentially the question is talking about the fact that out of the 10 5-star firms, only 6 of them have improved their share price. So it is 6 out of the 10, not 6 out of the total of 100 firms, because when you look at 100 firms, some are 2-star, some are 3-star, and some are 4-star. But here, the question is specifically telling us that 6 of the 5-star firms have increased their share price. 6 of the 5-star firms have increased their share price. So it's 6 out of 10, because 6 firms have increased their share price based on the fact that they are 5-star. So it's 6 based on the fact that they are a total of 10. Then the question says that here 15 4-star firms have increased their share price. So probability of share price based on the fact that it is a 4-star firm, which is B, is equal to 15, right, out of the total of 25. Then also the question continues to say that 15 3-star, so probability 15 3-star firms have increased their share price. The probability of share price based on the fact that it's a 3-star is 15 over 35. Then finally, probability that they have increased share price based on the fact that it's a 2-star, but the question says 15 2-star firms have also increased their share price. That would be 15 out of the total of 30 2-star firms. So here is essentially 0.60. Here is 0.60 as well. Here is 3 over 7. I do not like to use recurring decimals in probability, so I rather write fraction. Then here is 0.50. Okay. So now let's draw the probability tree, which will help us do the analysis. Okay. So here there are 4 prior probabilities. Probability of selecting a 1-star, a 2-star, a 3-star, and a 4-star. Now here we have probability of selecting a 5-star firm. Okay. Sorry, it was probability of a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, and 2-star. There's no 1-star. Okay. So probability of selecting a 5-star firm, obviously we know that it is 0.10. Okay. Now if the firm is a 5-star firm, they might have increased the share price or not. Okay. So probability that they increase share price based on the fact that they are a 5-star firm, our computations, we had 0.60. That means the probability that they don't increase the share price still based on the fact that they are a 5-star firm is 0.40. Okay. So here, first of all, the firm must be a 5-star firm and increase share price on this line. Or it's a 5-star firm, all right, and they might have not increased share price. So that means that essentially this branch here, these 2 branches of the probability is based on the first branch. Okay. All right. Then the probability of selecting a 4-star firm, obviously we had 0.25. Okay, if they are a 4-star firm, probability that they have increased their share price based on the fact that they are a 4-star firm was 0.60. And probability that they have not increased their share price based on the fact that it's still a 4-star firm, obviously will be 0.40. These things are not given in the question. You must be able to compute it because of the additivity rule of probability. So if we have an event A, probability of not A is equal to 1 minus probability of A. So let's remember that. That is why the other side is 0.40, and it must sum up to 1, of course. Okay, then also we have probability of selecting a 3-star firm, which is 0.35. Now, if the firm is a 3-star firm, they might have also increased their share price or not. So probability of increasing share price based on the fact that it's a 3-star firm was 3/7, which means that the probability that they have not increased the share price, the other side, based on the fact that it's a 3-star, is 4/7. Then finally, probability that they have, so probability of selecting a 2-star firm was 0.30. Now, if the firm is a 2-star firm, they might have also increased their share price or not. Okay, they might have also increased their share price or not. So probability that they have increased their share price based on the fact that it is a 2-star firm, we had 0.50. And the other side, probability that they have not increased their share price based on the fact that it's still a 2-star firm is 0.40, because essentially they must sum up to 1. So please, some of the probabilities were not given in the question, like especially these ones. But we must know that the branches of a probability tree that have the same source, those branches should sum up to 1, okay? All right, so having drawn this probability tree, we can now move further and do the analysis, okay? So let's go to our question. The question says that Mr. Boateng wishes to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. What is the probability that the firm is a 3-star firm? Okay, so here, probability, he wants to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. So the improvement in the share price becomes the prior probability. Okay, what is the probability that it is a 3-star? So improving in this question, or the requirement of this question, improving the share price comes first, or it is the prior probability. Then what is the probability that it's a 3-star is the second event, the posterior. So it means that we are supposed to find probability that it is a 3-star here based on the fact that it has improved its share price. Now, if you look at this term here, right, it is the opposite of this term here. And this simply shows us that we are doing a reverse conditional probability. And the concept of Bayes theorem must then come to mind, okay? All right. Now, the question says that he wants to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. So probability that a firm has improved its share price, it could be that it's a 5-star and have improved share price, okay? Or it could be that it's a 4-star and improved share price, or it's a 3-star and it has improved share price, or it's a 2-star, sorry, and it has improved share price. Okay, the question says Mr. Boateng wants to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. So All these are possible candidates, okay? Now, if it's a 5-star and it has improved its share price, it means that we are talking about probability that it's a 5-star and means multiplication, and it has improved its share price. So share price based on the fact that it's a 5-star, or it's a 4-star and it has improved its share price. So probability of 4-star times probability of improving share price based on the fact that it's a 4-star, or probability of 3-star based probability of a 3-star and or times probability that it has improved the share price based on the fact that it's a 3-star, or finally it's a 2-star, that's probability of 2-star and probability of that it has improved the share price based on the fact that it's a 2-star, okay? So this will give us 0.10 times 0.60 plus 0.25 times 0.60 plus, so all means plus, okay? 0.35 times 3/7 plus finally 0.50 times 0.30 times 0.50, okay? So in essence, probability that the firm has improved its share price, when you sum everything up here, you should get 0.51, okay? You should get 0.51. Now the question says that he wants to invest in a firm that has improved its share price. What is the probability that it's a 3-star firm? So here, this 0.51 is the probability that it has improved its share price. So these are all possible outcomes, whether it's a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or 2-star. But the question says that if it has improved its share price, what is the probability that it's a 3-star? So it means that although the possible outcomes are 0.51 probability, the favorable outcome is that it is a 3-star, okay? So we now pick the 3-star term here to be the numerator. Remember, probability is number of favorable outcome over number of possible outcomes, okay? So probability that it's a 3-star based on the fact that it has improved its share price will now be probability of 3-star times probability of this or this time, this based on this over probability of that. So we have 0.35 times 3/7 divided by 0.51, and this will give you 0.294, okay? So that is how we solve the first question. Now, the second requirement of the question says that suppose instead that Mr. Boatin wishes to invest in a firm that has not improved its share price. What is the probability that it is not a 3-star? Okay. Now, if you are looking for a firm that has not improved its share price, so probability of a firm that has not improved its share price. So since probability of S is the probability of a firm that has improved its share price, probability of a firm that has not improved its share price is probability of bar S, okay? I already told you that the bar means not, all right? So this is the probability of the firm that has not improved its share price. Now, if the firm has not improved its share price, it could be that it is a 1-star firm and it has not improved its share price. Sorry, there's no 1-star, sorry. It could be that it's a 5-star firm and it has not improved its share price. So it could be that it's a 5-star firm and it has not improved its share price based on the fact that it's a 5-star, or it could be that it's a 4-star firm and it has not improved its share price based on the fact that it is a 4-star, or it could be that it's a 3-star firm and it has not improved the share price based on the fact that it's a 3-star, or it could be that it's a 2-star firm and it has not increase the share price based on the fact that it is a 2-star. So essentially, per calculation, this will give us 0.10 times 0.40 if you substitute the figures, plus 0.25 times 0.40 plus 0.35 times 4/7 plus 0.30 times 0.50, and this should give us 0.49. Okay, so this is the total probability of not increasing share price. Now remember, based on the additivity rule, this could have been approached differently, because remember that probability of not S is simply 1 minus probability of S. Okay, and if you remember the probability of S in our previous discussion, it was 0.51 here. So probability of not S would have, probability of not S would have simply been 1 minus probability of S, which is 1 minus 0.51, and you have just gotten the 0.49 straightforward without going through this long procedure. So that is another way to do it, and you can choose the best way, or you can choose what is appropriate for you. Okay. Now the question says that if they have not improved the share price, what's the probability that it is not a 3-star? Okay, so it can be that they have not improved the share price and it is a 5-star. So this can be a numerator, or this can also be a numerator, because if we say not 3-star, it can be that it is a 5-star, 4-star, or 2-star. Okay, so based on the idea of Bayes theorem, probability that it is not a 3-star based on the fact that it has not improved its share price, it could be that it's a 5-star situation. There is this based on A, all over probability of not S. Okay, this formula is essentially the Bayes theorem formula, which I talked about in the former, the A aspect. Okay, so, or it could be that one of the favorable outcomes is a 4-star, so B based times probability of not S based on B, all over probability of not S. Or it could be that it is a 2-star, so probability of D times probability of not S based on D over probability of not S. Okay, so here there are 3 of them instead of 1 of them, because it says not 3-star, so it means it's either 5-star, 4-star, or 2-star. Okay, so essentially this will give us 0.10 times 0.40 over 0.49 plus 0.25 times 0.40 over 0.49 plus 0.30 times 0.50 over 0.49. So this will essentially give us 0.5918. Now, other way we could have approached this is that the question said that he wants to invest in a firm that has not increased the share price. Of course, a firm that has not increased its share price, the possible probability or the total possible outcome is 0.49, as we already established. Find the probability that it is not a 3-star. So we could have found the probability that it is a 3-star and then subtract the answer from 1, which will give us not 3-star. Okay, so we are finding the probability that it is a 3-star based on the fact that it has not improved the share price. It means that the 3-star term here would now be the numerator. Okay, so that would have given us probability of C times probability of not S based on C all over probability of not S. Okay, and this will essentially be 0.35 times 4/7 all over 0.49, and this will give us 0.4082. Okay, so this is the probability that it's a 3-star. Okay, so this is the probability that it is a 3-star based on the fact that it has not increased its share price. But the question is looking for probability that the firm has not increased its share price, but it's not a 3-star. So it's simply 1 minus this, the 3-star, based on the fact that it has not increased its share price. So this will give us probability that it is not a 3-star based on the fact that it has not increased the share price. So it will be 1 minus 0.4082, and this will give us 0.5918, okay, which is essentially the same answer as what we have here. So you can go the long approach, or you can do the shorter approach and subtract the answer from 1. You essentially get the same thing. Now the final part says that suppose instead that Mr. Boateng wishes to invest in a firm that has not improved the share price. What's the probability that it is a 2-star firm? What is the probability that it is a 2-star firm? So we already know that the probability that the firm has not increased its share price is 0.49, which is the total possible outcome, because the firm might have not increased its share price, which is 0.49 probability, but it can either be a 1-star, 2-star, sorry, it can either be a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or 2-star. But the question is asking, what's the probability that it is a 2-star firm? So essentially, we'll pick the 2-star firm term here to be the numerator. So essentially, the answer is this one here. Oh, sorry. So this was yeah. Essentially, the answer will be this one here. Sorry. Okay. So here we have probability that it is a 2-star based on the fact that it has not improved. So that will be probability of D times probability of not improved based on D over probability of not improved. Okay. So this will give us 0.30 times 0.50 over 0.49, and that will be 0.3061. Okay. All right. So I believe that by now we are getting the concept or the understanding behind the Bayes theorem. Okay. So let's end this discussion on Bayes theorem by looking at a final example. So let's end this discussion by looking at a final example, and then I'll come your way in the next video with probability distribution. So let's look at the final example on Bayes theorem, and I'll come your way in the next video with probability distributions. Now, here, the question says that imagine you are a financial analyst at an investment bank. Imagine you are a financial analyst at an investment bank. According to your research of publicly traded companies, 60% of the companies that increased their share price by more than 5% in the last 3 years replaced their CEOs during the period. So here, the question says that a firm that has increased its share price will replace their CEO. Okay, so the firm that increased their share price replaces their CEO in essence. Now here, it simply means that the probability of increasing the share price is the first thing that must happen. Because the question says that the company that has increased its share price by more than 5%, they replace their CEOs. So the first event or the prior event is the probability that the company has increased their share price. And then the replacement of CEO is the second event. So here, 60% of the companies that have increased their share price by more than 5% in the last 3 years replaced their CEOs, all right? So here, in essence, it means that the probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that they have increased share price is 0.6. Because always when you are writing the dependent probability, the posterior event comes first in the bracket based on the prior event, okay? All right. The question says that at the same time, 35% of companies that did not increase their share price by more than 5% replaced their CEOs. So here, not increasing the share price is the prior event, and still replacing the CEOs is the second or the posterior event, okay? So here we have a situation whereby we are looking at probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that you did not increase your share price, which is 0.35 probability. Then the question says that knowing that the probability that the share price grows by more than 5% is 4%. Illustrate the above scenario on a probability tree. So the probability that the share price grows by more than 5% is 4%. All right. So now let's illustrate these things on the probability tree, then we can solve. So first of all, let's let probability of S be equal to probability of increasing share price more than 5%, okay? More than 5%. And let's also let probability of R be equal to probability of replacing the CEO, okay? Now the question says that knowing that the probability of increasing share price by more than 5% is 4%. So in essence, probability of S is 0.04. Of course, you shouldn't be told probability of not S obviously will be 1 minus 0.04, which is 0.96, okay? Then the question says that 60% of the companies that have increased their share price replace the CEOs. So it means that probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that you increase your share price was 0.60. Then the question says that 35% of the firms that have not increased their share price, they replace their CEO. So in essence, probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that you have not increased your share price is 0.35. So let's illustrate these things on the probability tree, and then we will go through how to get the answer, okay? We will go through how to get the answer. Okay. So here, first of all, we have probability that they have increased share price, which is 0.04. Probability that they have not increased the share price, which is 0.96. Now, based on the fact that they have increased share price, some of them have replaced their CEOs. So probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that you have increased share price was 0.60. So in essence, 40% have not replaced their CEO, even though they have increased share price. So probability of not replacing CEO based on the fact that they have increased share price is 0.40. Then here again, we have probability that they replace their CEO based on the fact that they did not increase their share. Obviously, it was 0.35. Then the other side will be that probability that they did not increase their, the probability that they did not replace their CEO based on the fact that they did not increase their share price, was 65%, which is the other side of 35%. So all of them must sum up to 1. So this will be 0.65. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the requirement of the question. Now the question says that find the probability that the shares of a company that fires its CEO will increase share price by more than 5%. Okay. Now here, firing the CEO is the prior event, and then increasing the share price now becomes the second event, because the question says that find the probability that the shares of a company that fires its CEO will increase the share price by more than 5%. So here, we are looking for probability that they will increase share price based on the fact that they have fired or replaced the CEO, okay, which is essentially the opposite of this. Then we are looking at reverse conditional probability. Then we are concentrating on what we call Bayes theorem, okay? So probability that they find the probability that a firm that has fired its CEO will increase share price. We are looking for probability of increased share price based on the fact that they have fired or replaced the CEO. Now, if they have replaced the CEO, it could be that they have increased the share price or not. Okay, so probability of replacing the CEO could be that they have increased share price and they have replaced the CEO based on the fact that they have increased share price, or they have not increased share price and they have still replaced the CEO based on the fact that they have not increased share price. Okay. So here, this will be 0.04 times 0.60 plus 0.96 times 0.35. So this will be 0.36, and this is essentially the total possibility. This is the total possibility that they have replaced their CEO. That's 0.36. So the question says that if a firm has replaced the CEO, what is the probability to increase share price? Now, the probability of the favorable outcome is this term here, because this term is about increasing share price. So it now becomes the numerator. So probability of S based on R will be probability of S times probability of R based on X all over probability of R. So this will give us 0.60 times 0.04 divided by 0.36, okay? Of course, 0.60 times 0.04 is the same as saying 0.04 times 0.60. Let's not get confused. Multiplication is associative, okay? All right, so here, this will give us 0.067, okay? All right. Let's look at the second one. The second requirement says that find the probability that the shares of a company that retains, okay, that retain means that you have not fired the CEO, will increase share price by more than 5%. Okay. Now, if you have retained or you have not replaced, so bar R is not replaced, it could be that you increase share price and you have not replaced based on the fact that you have increased share price, or you did not increase share price and you have not replaced based on the fact that you did not increase share price. So this will essentially give us 0.04 times 0.40 plus 0.96 times 0.65. So this will give us 0.640. So 0.64 is the total possible outcome if you have not replaced your CEO. Of course, this could have alternatively be found by saying that probability of not replacing CEO is simply 1 minus probability of replacing CEO, which would have just been 1 minus 0.36 because we solved this earlier, and this would be 0.64. This is a simpler approach. Well, so we've gotten the probability that they have not replaced the CEO. The question now says that find the probability that the shares of a company that retains or that have not replaced its CEO will increase share price. Okay, will increase share price. So increasing, so that means that the increasing share price term here, because here we are looking at increasing share price, and here increasing share price, increasing share price. So that term now becomes the favorable outcome. Okay, so this will essentially give us probability of S times probability of bar R based on X over probability of bar R. So this will give us 0.04 times 0.40 over 0.64. And this will give us 0.025. Okay, so that is the answer. Then the third requirement, the IV says that find the probability that the shares of a company, find the probability that the shares of a company that fires its CEO will not increase share price more than 5%. Okay, so we already know that the probability that they replace or fire CEO is 0.36. To find the probability that it will not increase share price, we are looking for probability of not increasing share price based on the fact that you fired your CEO. So it means that the not increasing share price term becomes the numerator. So that will give us probability of R based on not S. No. So it's probability of not increasing share price and probability of replacing CEO based on the fact that you did not increase your share price. So this will be the numerator because this is the favorable outcome over the total possible outcome of replacing the CEO. So over probability of replacement. So this will give us 0.96 times 0.35 over 0.36, and this will give us so if you do your computations correct, this should give you 0.9333. Okay, all right. Then finally, the question says that find the probability that the shares of a company that retains its CEO will not increase share price by more than 5%. So probability of retaining or the probability of not replacing the CEO, we already know it is 0.64. So the question says that find the probability that a firm that retains its CEO will not increase share price, by more than 5%. So not increasing the share price term now becomes the numerator. So this will be probability that they did not increase share price based on the fact that they replaced the CEO. So this will be probability of not increase share price and probability that they did not replace based on the fact that they did not increase, all over probability that they did not replace. So this will give us 0.96 times 0.65 over 0.64, which is 0.975. Okay. Obviously, you can also use the NOT rule to solve the IV and VIN, having gotten the answers from II and III. Okay, so for II, the opposite side is the IV. Then the III, the opposite side is the VIN here. So in the link that I've placed at the bottom of the YouTube page, or at the bottom at the page of this video, you can quickly click the link. It will send you to a page that will help you download the solution to this, which I've organized very well. That I have all the alternative ways of solving it is there, and then it will help you understand it very well. Okay, so I hope this video has been very educative and it has given you some ground in the concept of Bayes theorem. Please, to enable us bring more content to you, kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click on the red subscribe button at the down right corner, and we will be able to bring you more content. So thank you very much. Just it's a click away. Just click the red subscribe button at the down corner, and this will enable us bring you more content. So kindly subscribe, and I'll bring to you soon, or in my next video, I'll teach on probability distributions part 1. Then after that, I'll teach on probability distributions part 2, and this will bring us to the end of the concept of application of probability to business decisions. Thank you very much for patronizing our content. See you soon in probability distributions. Bye for now.